There was a American football coach. His name was Vince Lombardi. And he said the difference between successful people and others is not a lack of strength. It's not a lack of knowledge, but a lack of will. And what he meant by that is people that are successful are willing to work harder than people who are not successful. People who are not successful always have an excuse or a reason for their lack of success or their lack of ability to achieve certain goals. And the real reason behind it is their inability to focus, their inability to take initiative, their amount of effort that they put into things, and their performance. What we're going to talk about today are those three things, and you can write those three things down: initiative, effort, and performance. Those are the three things that you measure leaders by. They're willing to take initiative, the amount of effort that they put into a project, and the performance that comes out of those first two things. So let's get started. Okay? Now, one of the things that Otis told you is I'm an international speaker. So you're going to see people in my PowerPoint presentation that look like us, but you're also going to see people who do not look like us. Why is that? Because you are going to work with everybody. We are a global economy. We are not confined to one country, one continent, or one place or space. We are global. So you're going to work with people from every race and nationality and country and continent in the world if your business is ever to be as successful as it can be. Write this down because this is very, very important. Consistency beats creativity every time. I would rather you be consistent or more consistent than creative. Creativity is great, but creativity that is sporadic is dangerous. You have to be consistent on how you show up. I used to have a boss when I worked for a hotel. I worked in hotels for 27 years. And he said something to us that I will never forget. And he said, when you show up every day, I don't want you just to show up. Showing up is great because you have to show up before you can do anything else. But don't just show up. Show up with your best self. Think about that. Your best self. Show up with the best part of you. Don't just show up. Don't show up with an attitude. Don't show up with I don't care kind of mindset. Show up ready to work hard, ready to get at it, ready to do the things that other people won't. So tomorrow you can have the things that other people don't. I'm going to repeat that because you need to understand it. True successful leaders are willing to do the things that other people don't so that they can have the things tomorrow that other people won't. Are you that kind of person? Are you in it to win? Are you going to be consistent and do those types of things? Consistency. How did you show up on the last project you were working on? Did you give it everything you had? Or did you just go through the motions? Did you show up every day with the best version of yourself? Or some days you just didn't feel like it? You woke up late, you didn't get your breakfast, somebody said something to you that you didn't like, and you carried that with you all day long through every project that you did. Did you show up thinking that you were so much better than you really were? You talked about how great you were, and then people looked at the work that you've done, and they're like, wait a minute. He's got a case of the big head. His head, in his mind, he's greater than the work he's done. He hasn't put in the work, but he thinks he's or she is so fantastic. Good, solid leaders understand the difference between the big head and the person who's focused on the right things. If you work for a company, if you're starting a company as a leader, if you're working inside of an organization, bad companies waste resources because they have bad culture. Remember the word culture, because we're going to really spend a lot of time talking about culture. But bad companies don't have good culture. The people that are working in the company don't work well together. They don't support each other. They don't care about each other. They don't work in unison to get things done or with projects. There's always conflict going on inside the organization. That's bad culture. Great companies, on the other hand, have great culture. People work together. People support each other. People cheer each other on. When someone does something very well, the people around them don't get jealous. They applaud their efforts. They put them on a pedestal. They celebrate their victories. Because when you have a victory, you want people to celebrate with you. So if you want people to celebrate with you, you have to be willing to celebrate with them. You have to be willing to tell them great job, pat them on the back so that when it's your turn, no one has an issue with doing the same for you. Here's a formula that you need to remember. R minus R equals CD. Resources minus results equals a culture deficit. You've got the resources, but the people aren't producing the results because of the things that I talked about. There's no teamwork. There's no camaraderie. There's no support. So all of a sudden, because we have a cultural deficit, we're not getting the work done efficiently, effectively, and growing our revenues, our resources, our company. On the other hand, R plus R equals a culture of champions. So if you have those resources and those people are working together, maximizing the use of those resources and producing fantastic results for you, you have a culture of champions. There's only one thing in the world that people value more than money. Does anybody know what that is? If anybody knows what people value more than money, come off mute and tell me what it is. Or put it in the chat. What do people value more than money? I'd love to know what you think. The only thing, I'll tell you in a minute, but I want to see time, okay? What else? Anybody else? What do people value more than money? Trust, okay. Okay, good, two good things, two very good things. Compliments, talents, okay. All right, I don't want to spend a lot of time. If there any one or two more, put them in the chat because I'd like to hear your opinion. But I'm going to tell you what it is, contact. Write this down. The only thing in the world that people value more than money is winning. Everybody wants to be a winner. Nobody wants to lose. The only thing in the world that people value more than money is winning. Because if I'm winning, the money will come. If I'm a winner, the money's people are going to want to pay me because I'm a winner. People are going to want to buy my stuff because I'm a winner. People are going to want to work with me because I'm a winner. The only thing people value in this world more than money is being a winner. And you want to create a winning attitude, and a winning culture for everybody around you, whether they work with you, for you, or they're your competitors. You want everybody to revere and regard you as a winner. Every company has a culture, no matter what the size. You could be what we call a solopreneur, a company of one. There's a culture there. You can be a company of 1,000. There are many intricate cultures there. But every company has a culture regardless of what size it is. Remember that. So let's do this. Let's talk about patterns and trends. I want you to think about this. For the last 7 days, of everything that you've done in the last 7 days, how have you shown up? Did you show up every day with every task, with every assignment, with everything that you had to do with your best self in the last week? How did you show up? Did you perform your last project that you were working on with the best that you could perform? Did you give it everything? Did you just go over and above? Did you go past what was expected of you? How did you perform? Did you develop systems to solve problems and issues that arose when you were working on something, so that if it ever happened again, you already had a solution? You didn't have to come up with a solution again, but you had a problem, you solved it, and you took the initiative. We're working with the key word here is initiative, to think it through, to do more than what was expected so that you could get more out of it and you could shine versus just glimmer. Did you just check the boxes? Did you just say, I got it done. Done is better than good. It's done. It's done. I don't have to worry about it right now. Let somebody else worry about it the next time. So I'm going to check it off. I did it. That's what they asked me to do, and I did just what they asked me to do. So it boils down to what kind of energy did you show up with? Did you give it all you had? Or did you just, as I said, check the boxes? Because I'll be really honest with you. It's easier to check the boxes. It's harder to do the extra because you're a lot of times in territory that nobody's ever been in before. So there are no directions. You got to be willing to take a chance. You got to be willing to gamble. You got to be willing to fail. A lot of people don't want to fail. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Not sure if you know the name, but I'm going to mention it. Thomas Edison. He was an American who created and invented the light bulb. And they said when he invented the light bulb, you failed 9,999 times. Why did you keep going to try to create the light bulb? He said, I didn't fail. He said, I found 9,999 times that didn't work. But on the 10,000th time, we made history. And to this day, we no longer walk in the dark because he was willing to fail 9,999 times before he got it right. If you're going to fail, don't stop. There's an old saying that says, you don't drown by falling in the water. You drown by staying there. You're going to fall in the water. You got to learn to swim. You're going to drink some water. You got to learn to swim. You got to keep moving, keep going, because you can get to the shore, you can get to the edge of the pool, but if you stay where you are, you're definitely going to drown. So the question is, how did you show up? What was your energy like? Was it a high level of energy? Was it a low level of energy? Was it a check the box energy? Was it just, I'm here. That's all they pay me to come to show up? Or did I perform at peak levels? I went through the roof. I went for everything I could. I went for the gusto and I kept it moving. Here's one of the things I also want you to write down. The enemy of great is good work. You will never do great work if you settle for good work. Think about school. School, you get A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's. Some people are happy to just get a C. That's good work. It's average, it's good work. Some people, the people who are most successful are driven. They're not just looking for the B. They're not just looking for the A. They want an A+. And they are upset when they get anything less. They want great work, not good work. And you have to be the kind of person who wants great work, not good work. Good is the enemy of great. So it takes initiative. You got to act on things. You got to change things. You got to do something different. You got to go through the difficult times. Take the initiative to do something better than what was already there. To do that, you got to be self-motivated. Nobody can help you and say, oh, you know, you should do this. Oh, Emma, you should do that. Oh, Leroy, you should do this. Oh, Joel, you should do that. Foster, man, you need to get the step and you need to get moving. No, you have to believe in yourself. You have to be self-motivated. Nobody should have to tell you what you should do. You should be doing it without anybody saying anything to you. You should be thinking through those difficult things and doing them because you know they have to get done. You've got to be self-motivated. You got to be self-driven. You got to fall, but fall forward and keep on moving. Don't stop. Don't let anything deter you from getting to where it is you're trying to go. You got to be self-directed. You got to be willing to go in a direction because you got a feeling that it's right. Now, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Alice in Wonderland. If you ever heard of Alice in Wonderland, put yes in the chat. Just put yes in the chat if you ever heard of Alice in Wonderland. It's a Disney movie called Alice in Wonderland. Anybody ever heard of that? Okay. All right. I don't see anybody saying anything, but let me just tell you the story of Alice in Wonderland. Alice was what? Okay. So Emma says yes. Tantu, not really. Okay. All right. Good. Well, let me just tell you about Alice. Alice was wandering through the forest. She was lost. And she was trying to get out of the forest to get home. And she came to a fork in the road. And when she came to the fork in the road, there was a big old bamboo tree in the middle of the road. And sitting up in the tree was a Cheshire cat. And she looked up in the tree and she said to the Cheshire cat, which way should I go? And the Cheshire cat looked down at her and said, where are you trying to get to, young lady? Her response was, I don't know. His response was, then any road will do. Basically, if you're not self-directed, if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have a goal or an objective of where you're trying to get to, then you're going to be lost in the forest like Alice. And any direction that you go will be just as good as any other direction because you don't have a target. You don't have a goal. You don't have a vision. Visionaries are self-directed. You must be a visionary to be a successful leader. You've got to be a self-starter. You got to be willing to get out there, jump, and get running. Don't wait for somebody to tell you go, you go. And if you went too soon, let them tell you to come back. But be a self-starter. Get it going. Get moving. Get grooving. Get there. And put in the maximum effort possible. E for effort. You can have initiative, but you have to put in the effort. Because just thinking about it or talking about it is not going to get it done. You got to have the effort. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the hard quality time and effort to be successful in anything that you do. You have to be unyielding. Does everybody know what unyielding means? That means nothing can stop you. Nothing can keep you from going to where you're trying to go. You've got to keep moving. And you're not always going to be able just to do whatever you want to do. I told you I spent 27 years in the hotel business, and I wanted to be a salesperson. I wanted to sell meetings and conventions. They told me when I first got there, we don't think you're sales material. They forced me to take a job that nobody else wanted. For 18 months, I took a job as a hotel night manager. But here was the magic. And here's why I tell you the story of unyielding effort. I worked for 18 months in that job. Basically, I handled all the problems and complaints that everybody had about staying at the hotel. Why was that important? Because at the end of the 18 months, I did such a great job that they said they wanted to give me the opportunity to learn sales so that possibly one of the other hotels, because it was a major corporation, Hyatt Hotels and Resorts, would offer me a position in their hotel versus the hotel I was in. 18 months. Within 2 weeks of them putting me in the department, they terminated the person who had the job that I wanted. And the job, they gave me the job. Why? Because that 18 months, I learned all the things that the salespeople were doing that were incorrect and were causing problems in the hotel. They taught me things that they didn't really want to teach me, but because I had unyielding effort and I was a self-starter and I wanted something so bad that I learned the skills that they didn't realize they were teaching me. When you're at work and somebody says, I need you to do a project. Well, that's not my job. That's his job. That's Ahmed's job. That's Francis's job. That's Hannah's job. That's Otis's job. That's Armstrong's job. That's Tom Two's job. That's not my job. You just shot yourself in the foot. You just caused yourself a problem. If you do the task and learn from it, now you know how to do what they do. Now you know more than you were originally designed or hired to know. And once it goes here, no one can take that away from you. But you have to have the right mindset, the right attitude to put in the unyielding effort and work to achieve great things. You've got to be willing to make the commitment to see it through to the end. Be so self-engaged in it that nothing is going to stop you from getting to where you want to go, regardless of what you have to go through to get there. Because you're focused. You're focused on what it is you want to achieve, where it is you want to go, and what it's going to take to get you there. Focus is important. The last part, if you have the initiative, you put in the effort with the right focus, you're going to perform. Performance is a part of your gift. We were all blessed by the Creator with gifts. And when you're performing inside of your gift, you get maximum results. But how do you work to perfect the gifts that you've been given? Otis told you, I'm a professional speaker. I work at speaking every day. I read quotes, I read information, I read books, I listen to recordings, I listen to other speakers. Why? Because I'm working on the gift that I've been given to perfect my gift, my craft. If you're not spending time working on your gifts and your crafts, you can never perform at the highest level. It's impossible. Think about an athlete. Think about the professional football players. They are being paid to play football, but every practice they juggle. Every practice they take shots. Every practice they pass the ball to each other. 1 touch pass, 2 touch pass. Why? They're working on their talent and their gifts to get better. They're coordinating with each other to get better. A wall pass is not learned in 1 practice. It takes time. To set up an offside trap doesn't work in 1 practice. It takes timing, it takes coordination, it takes skill. How are you working on your skills? A dancer doesn't dance perfectly the first time. They have to practice and perfect their gift. They need the experience. And the experience takes time. And it doesn't happen with the attitude that done is better than perfect. You have to be a perfectionist and work towards perfection. It's all about your habits. We all have them. But do you have good habits? What kind of habits do you have? A lot of people have bad habits, and the reason they're not successful is they can't break the bad habits. They're stuck in a cycle with bad habits. So remember, your habits will determine who you are. This is one of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to leave it here for a minute if you want to write it down. Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. So watch how the best people think about how to get to the next level all day. Those are people that are going places. People that are complacent, instead of talking about doing spectacular things, they spend their time talking about people, tearing down other people. So the question is, what do you think about it? Do you think about growing your business, growing your career, growing your life, taking care of your family better than you have been in the past because you're going places? Or do you spend your time tearing down situations, tearing down people, being unproductive? Are you expanding your knowledge? Are you reading books? Or are you spending your time watching television, on Facebook, on TikTok, not learning anything? You have to continually feed and train the strongest muscle in your body. The strongest muscle in the human body is not the arm, it's not the leg, it's the brain. It's the most powerful muscle your body has. How do you train it? What are you feeding it? How are you developing it? Those are the things that will make you better. You also need a coach. You also need a teacher. You also need a mentor, because it's like an artwork. It's like your life is like a piece of art, and you can't see the picture if you're in the frame. You need somebody who can see your weaknesses and help you overcome them. And don't take it personal when they point them out to you, because they're helping you. I have many coaches, many mentors, many friends, and we have accountability sessions where they hold me accountable for the things that I said I was going to do, and we keep score. Who's your accountability partner? Who holds you accountable for the things you said you were going to do? So here's what we're going to do, okay? I said the last 7 days. I want you to take the last 7 days And I want you to think about how you showed up for projects, work, and in life for the last 7 days. If you showed up with your best self every day and you worked through your best self every day, I want you to give yourself a grade between 1 and 100, 100 being the best. If you showed up 100% of the time at the best of your ability, give yourself a grade close to 100. If you showed up, so-so, or you didn't show up, or you didn't perform well, give yourself a grade from 1 to 100, somewhere between 1 and 100. I can't tell you what that grade is, only you, but be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Next, effort. What kind of effort did you put in? Did you just check the boxes? Or did you go over and above? Did you work hard as you could through the process? How did you show up with your effort? What kind of effort did you put in? And last, how'd you perform? What was your level of performance? So let's go back to initiative. Give yourself a grade and put your grade in the chat. I want to see everybody's grade on initiative that they're grading themselves. Put it in the chat. Would you grade yourself on initiative? Somewhere in the neighborhood of from 1 to 100. What did you grade yourself? 50%, okay? Let's be honest. We're not pointing fingers at anybody, but I want you to go through this process. 65, okay? Who else? 50, okay? Okay. 55, 60, okay? 60, 40. If you showed up 80%, if you showed up and took the initiative on something, don't be afraid to give yourself the grade you deserve, because you're going to take this yourself. 75. Okay. All right. So that's initiative. So write down initiative and your grade next to it. I want you to do the same thing with effort. Okay. 80%. Initiative, 60%. I want you to do the same thing with effort. Give yourself a grade for effort. How did you show up from an effort standpoint? What was your grade? Effort, 75%, 65% effort. Okay, initiative 65, effort 75, effort 85, effort 75, 70. Okay. And last but not least, I want you to grade yourself on your performance. This is for the last 7 days. What is your performance level for the last 7 days? And how did you perform? Did you outperform your own expectations? Did you outperform the people around you? How'd you perform? Were you an all-star, superstar? Or were you in the bush leagues? Were you just going through the motions? You performed at you did just enough not to get fired from your job. And they pay you just enough so you won't quit. But your performance was substandard. Or was your performance at a very, very high level? Okay. All right, everybody get their performance numbers together. All right. So then here's what I want you to do. I want you to add the 3 numbers together. Add the 3 numbers together. Add your 3 numbers together and divide by 300. Add your 3 numbers together and divide by 300. Add your 3 numbers together and divide by 300. Put that in the chat. Add your 3 numbers together, divide by 300, and put that in the chat. Okay. All right, time two. All right, once you do that, move the decimal over 2 spaces. Move the decimal point over 2 spaces. Okay, 73%, 72, okay, 73, 65%, 83%. Move the decimal over 2 places, and that'll give you your percentage. I want everybody to have their percentage. Your percentage equals your success quotient. That is the level of performance overall of your grade towards success. So it's your initiative plus your effort plus your performance divided by 300 to get your IEP score when you move the decimal over 2 places. Now you're going to do this for yourself every week. Give yourself those 3 grades every week. And once a month, you're going to meet with your mentor. You're going to meet with your coach. You're going to meet with your accountability partner, and they're going to grade you too. They're going to grade you based on how they saw you show up for the last 30 days. And you're going to compare what they see in you to how you see yourself. This is a gut check. This is how you check to see if you're on target and on point with what you think you're doing. Here's the example. So your initiative is 60%, your effort 60%, your performance is 50%. 60 plus 60 plus 50, 170. Divided by 300, 56%. Okay? Here's what you need to understand. Goal is to be no less than 74%. If you're less than 74%, you're failing. If you're 85% or above, you can take your business to the $1 million level. You will be able to perform at the $1 million level. 75 to 84%, you will perform at the $500,000 level. At 74%, 6 figures. At 66% or below, you're in trouble because you're not performing at a level that's going to take you to where you want to go. You're substandard. You're performing as a failure. If you average between 50 and 59% and you are an entrepreneur, it's time for you to get a job. Go to work for somebody else because you don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur or a leader. You're not leading, you're following. So you need somebody to tell you what to do. If all parts of your IEP are bad, then you'll equal negative or 4 figures, 4-figure results. And you'll lose between $1,000 to $20,000 a year. Your business will eventually go out of business. Okay. What I'm trying to get you to understand is this is how you can base where you're going as a business. This is how you can base whether or not you're going to be successful as a business owner or as a leader, because you're holding yourself accountable for a high level of performance. Now, these numbers may be off based on the fact that they're more for the United States than it is for your currency, but you can see and hopefully draw the correlation to how things are in your world. Okay. If your IEP scores are between 75 and 84%, you're going to make money. You're going to make a lot of money over time because it's only on a pace to get better and better and better and better. But you've got to be performing at a minimum at that level. It takes a new mindset to create new results. You've got to have the right mindset to gain the right results. If you don't have the right mindset, the results will not come. Check yourself, check your mind first, and your actions will follow. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to tell you to unmute your mics, come on camera if you want, and ask me any questions that you have or about what we just talked about, or anything that you may not understand, or anything you want me to talk about even more.